the other day, a friend of mine, we've been friends on social media and we talk on the phone and stuff for, shoot, probably about 15 years. And I we were discussing how we first met. She was one of the first followers of my advice column when I launched the website askheartbeat.com. Now that column was crazy, I have to admit, because I don't know, I just was saying anything to people, even more so than I do now. And she said she would wait every week for that column to come out. I think it came out on Wednesdays, and people would be, waiting to read that craziness. It would usually be about 40 or 50 questions in there. It took me all week to do it, and they would just howl at the responses. So it's pretty similar to what I'm doing now, except that now I don't have to type, which is good because I'm sitting here with this split on my hand. I have de Quervain's tendonitis or something. I don't know, but it's like right at the thumb of your hand, and it's just killing me. So the fact that I don't have to type out answers and I can just talk is just fabulous. So you guys keep the questions rolling in. Some of them are, of course, more interesting than others, and will appear in this column. Not everything is going to make it. But I just wanted to remind you to do that. Go onto the blog at survivingdating.com, and up at the top you'll see it says, get advice. Hover over it, and then you'll see the form, submit advice question form, and that is how you send in a question for consideration for publication. So let me get started. Today I selected 6 questions instead of 5 as I usually do, and I don't. So a couple of them are very interesting, and a few came in from men. I think at least one anyway. So let's get started. The first person writes that about 6 months ago she found some texts on her boyfriend's cell from some other woman. She asked him to explain. He claimed it was nothing, just something his mate had got him into one day at work when they were bored. And she believed him. That he said he hadn't cheated on her, but she said it did screw up her head. So they had quite a few falling outs about it, and it made her realize she was being silly and that she should trust him 100%. She said it took a while, but I finally let it go. However, she just recently found out that he's been visiting an online dating site, and now she says she doesn't know what to do. I'm scared to tell him how I feel about it in case he thinks I don't trust him, but I'm also scared that if I don't tell him how I feel, he will continue to walk all over me, and I'll end up getting really hurt in the future. Can you please help me? And I'm like, okay, you had the first clue. I don't know. See, me, you get one chance. If I start questioning you, I got to doubt you. My trust level of you falters. You doing some shady shit that I don't understand. You're out of here. I can't, even if it's a female, I cannot have friends or family members or a romantic partner in my life that causes me concern, that makes me doubt them, where you don't know if they're telling the truth, telling a lie. It's all this backdoor undercover secret shit going on. See, I can't roll with that. So I'm looking at this letter, and I'm just like, wow, these young girls put up with a whole bunch of bullshit. And this is one of the things I want to talk about. Part two of the Saving Our Girls thing is tomorrow. I will post a link to it in the show description page, so you can just click the link and register. You got to be registered in advance. But things like this, I want to talk about the relationship aspect of our daughters, because what is going on that they think that this is what they need to do. You feel me? So I'm like, this girl, she acts like, well, let me direct it to her because she's probably going to listen to this. Okay, young lady, you acting like this is the only man in the whole world or something. He knows how you feel about what he's doing, but did that stop him from doing it? You guys had multiple fights about it, right? So he's very clear on how you feel about it. Why are you confused thinking he doesn't understand? He understands very well. but he doesn't want to stop. And all the talking and arguing and everything that you did, lecturing, whatever you did, is not going to make him stop. The best thing that you could do for yourself is to dump him and move on. Remember my motto. It's the only thing that guides my responses to every single thing that I say. If the man you are with is not giving you the relationship that you want, you leave him. It's that simple. And I don't know why people just can't get that through their heads. You don't have to settle and negotiate and go through all these changes and not trust him and worry and feel doubtful and cry and all this shit that y'all be doing. You don't need to do any of that. You just get rid of him. I mean, in a situation like this, he's obviously not as into you as you are into him. And so his behavior is demonstrating that. I don't care what his mouth is saying. His behavior is telling you, I don't give a shit about you. I'm all about myself. Because you got to understand, if a man is really into his woman, he's not going to idly text some other woman, and nor would he be shopping for, just shopping looking. I mean, he could be like window shopping. We don't know he's going to actually do anything, but he wouldn't even be doing that on a dating site. He would be concentrating on what he can do to make you happy, make your relationship better, have fun with you, be around you. That's where his energy would be. So the fact that he thinks this is something he needs to do to entertain himself when you are right there and available for him is very telling. So to me, all information that you need to make a smart decision about this quote relationship, if you want to call it that, is right in your face. You know, don't act like you don't know what you need to be doing. You know what you need to do. And I mean your gut is telling you, but you're doubting yourself. And I don't understand why you so acting so desperate and scary, like you need to cling on to this one dude. What you're gonna do, see, by not wanting to make a decision and not wanting to break this tie with this man, he's going to drag you down until you stand up for yourself and demand to be treated with respect, even if that means leaving him. You're gonna stay with him until he just dogs you out completely, and just really just hurt you to no end when you could take care of that right now. So that's my answer to you. You need to not worry about what he's doing and what single site he's on and all that stuff. You know that shit's hurting you. You know that you already had this issue with him before. He's the behavior did not stop. So what does that tell you? And plus, he's not even married to the dude. He's just a mere boyfriend. And you going through all these changes? Please change him out, girl, like you change your drawers. I don't understand what the problem is. Okay, let's move on. Question number 2. Wedding season is right around the corner, and I have to start shopping for gifts. Oh, that's right. This is April. Okay. What is your opinion on the gift registry thing? Are you a fan of it, or do you think it's rude? I guess it's a great way for a couple to get what they want, but on the other hand, I think it's a bit of an impersonal gift in my opinion. What do you think? What do I think? I think that having a registry like that is a tradition that's left over from the days when our society was much different than what it is now. That's something that the young brides did when they still and grooms when they still lived with their parents when they're fresh out of high school or college. They never lived on their own, and they never had their own place and whatever. And so they're gonna move right out of their parents' home and start their life as a couple. Well, of course they need everything because they don't have anything. They need towels, they need silverware, they need plates, they need glasses, they need coffee dispense makers, whatever, pots and paint. I mean, they need everything. But this is 2018, and them days been over since I don't know the 80s. And brides and grooms these days, I mean, if you even call them that, usually they just be shacking up. But I guess, if they're going to get married, they do become a bride and groom eventually. But, they're having sex, they're having children, they own their own homes, they buy cars and stuff together, they go on trips together, they have fully stocked homes because they live together, all this kind of stuff. Even if they don't live together, they live on their own. So they already have most of that stuff, or pretty much all of it. So when you look at it that way, you're like, what the fuck you need a gift registry for? You already have everything that you need. You just want to upgrade on my dime. Fuck that. You've been fornicating, you've been living together, you've been birthing babies and doing whatever you want to do for years, so you need to go buy your own wedding gifts. Now, if I'm uber generous, I might give them some cash. I might. But really, like if I know the couple been living together and got kids and all this shit, I'm not giving your ass shit. You need to give me something for coming. But that's my own personal, take on it. But you do you. But since you asked my opinion, that's my opinion. I don't never participate in them registry things. Please. Okay. Question number 3. I need some advice and some perspective on a problem. I'm very much in love with a kind and wonderful man, and I'm getting married next month. Ooh, wow. About 3 weeks ago, I borrowed his laptop and found that he has been looking at a significant number of porn websites. Oh, I wonder what put significant means. Like, what are we talking, hundreds? This is not a big deal for me. I know it's normal, and every boyfriend I've had in the past has admitted to looking at porn. However, my fiance has told me many times this has come up that he doesn't like that and he finds it degrading to women and distorts men's view of quote real sex. So of course I asked him about these sites and he flat out denied it and promptly deleted all his internet history and cookies. Hmm. Interesting. She says she tried to make it safe for him to tell her by, tell her, I mean, basically to admit it by telling him that she thinks it's normal, but he continued to angrily and vehemently deny he ever looks at it or likes it. Okay, this dude's got problems. So then she says, this weekend I noticed him in our home office looking at porn sites on the computer. I checked his internet history, which is sneaky. I feel bad about doing it, but I found out that he had indeed been cruising various porn sites while I was just in the other room. I let a day go by and then asked him about it, trying to be really gentle and not accusatory, but he completely lied about it again and got very, very angry at me for bringing it up. I told him that I clearly know he was and it's no big deal, but he will not admit it. Please give me some perspective on this. We're getting married soon. I completely trust him not to cheat on me, but I'm really hurt by him lying over this. What do you suggest I do to put my mind at ease? I don't think there's a way he will ever tell the truth about this, and I really don't want it to come between us. You don't want it to? Well, guess what? It already has. You tripping. Just looking at this, you know how they do in the 12-step programs, they say, the first step is admitting that you have a problem and turning your problem, whatever it is, something like that. But anyway, basically, you have to admit that you have a problem. That's the first step. Dude won't even do that, you know. So when you see somebody ducking and dodging responsibility and negating facts, like he's what they call it, gaslighting her. She's seen the facts that show that this is what he's doing, and yet he keeps denying it. So like she's supposed to like not believe what she saw based on what he keeps saying. And I'm like, okay, see this dude has problems, and to me, this is no one that she should even be thinking about marrying. I am suspicious that he's a porn addict. I mean, you got your woman right in the next room, and you can't stop looking at boobs and butts while she's like 10 yards away. And he did this right after he just lied to her face and denied that he even looks at it. So this is a person who has an addiction. He can't control himself. He won't accept that he's one, which means that he has some deep unresolved conflicts about this whole thing. He feels guilty, which is why he's denying and getting angry, and probably somewhat ashamed of his interest because he's going on the site. She doesn't know exactly what things he's looking at on the sites. I mean, is it quote regular stuff, or is it something with a tinge of violence to it? Is it weird stuff? I mean, she doesn't know. She didn't say that part. And like once you're in the site, I'm not sure it really tracks that kind of stuff on your browser. I'm not sure how that works, but I do know of women, and I'm talking, personal, real life, offline, that have had men who had one kind of addiction or another, including pornography. And all I can tell you is, young lady, is for a fact that a guy like this will destroy you. He will destroy your heart, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your mind. You start to doubt yourself as being attractive and enough for him. And if you have children, it often destroys the entire family because you run the risk of his interest changing, and sometimes they become a little bit too perverted. And as well as this addiction increases, they need more and more stimulation, which they cannot get from regular, sexual activity. I remember this one girl was telling me that her boyfriend, see, and again, we need to talk about this tomorrow. Her boyfriend would have her, they doing their thing, and he would have the TV on or his laptop on the bed watching porn while he was, doing things with her. So it was like he was basically just using her as a tool to, fulfill his dreams with his special little proclivities there. And he was not really making love to her. You see what I'm saying? She was just a tool as a part of his addiction. And she was just getting mentally and emotionally destroyed with this. He wouldn't even look at her. And I'm like, this is some sick shit right here. What is this dude doing? So this guy, this letter writer, if she doesn't get out of it, she's gonna be headed down that same path. And personally, I think the fact that this information came to you before you got married was not an accident. I don't know how long you've been with him because you didn't say all that. You left a lot of holes in your information, but obviously you two are living together and you're planning to get married. And so you just found this out after whatever length of time that you've been knowing this dude. Don't you think that was, came to you and that happened all for a reason? I think spiritually you needed to know the reality of this dude that thinking of as your future husband and the father of your children. And I don't want you to ignore this and think that marrying him is going to magically make him change or this problem go away. A lot of women have that kind of, oh well, it'll be better after we married kind of fantasy going on, and it won't be. You need to understand when a man shows you who he is, you need to believe him. Your dude is a liar and he's an addict. He's addicted to porn. So, for you, in closing, I think you better rethink marrying this man, and maybe you two can get some kind of premarital counseling. But if he continues to refuse to admit that he has this problem and or refuses to go for help, then you better consider postponing or even canceling this wedding. Because I mean, emotionally, you focus it on being somebody's wife. You need to focus on what kind of marriage you're going to have with this kind of albatross hanging around your neck. Because it would be very, very foolish, in my opinion, to get married to a man like this once you have full knowledge that he's got some psychological problems and an addiction that he cannot control and he refuses to admit to. So, that doesn't, he's not husband material, not in Deb's book. Moving on to question number 4. Deborah, do you have an explanation for the thousands of women that leave their kids behind and run? I was left with a 2-year-old son when I was 18. That was 28 years ago, and my son hasn't seen her since. Years later, I heard that she'd married and now has a couple of children. But I need to know why she left the way she did. Why don't women realize that they can't handle motherhood before they get pregnant? Okay, wait a minute. Wait one goddamn minute here. This motherfucker right here. Okay, you were 18 when the kid was 2. So you assume that she was your age or even younger, because usually that's, the age and people are younger. So let's say she had this baby at 15. So she left the 2-year-old with you when she was 17. She might have been 18 too, but anyway, somewhere in there. And you think that she's a woman to make a life-changing decision like that, and that it's her fault, and that she should have known this before she got pregnant. You sound like a fool. I really don't even want to answer this question because I'm just really pissed off. But for the other idiots out there who might want to have this question in mind, let me explain something to you. Young girls are raised from the time they are in diapers to be mothers. I mean, this shit is drilled into our heads, to be a wife, to be a mother. You get a baby doll, you get a little cooking set, you get little high heels and fake makeup and all this old shit. And they start like drumming you into your head and brainwashing you into thinking that this is a role that you have to play as part of being a woman. And they also, as a part of that package, tell little girls that they need to cater to men. You need to be pretty. You need to be supportive. You need to be nurturing. You need to, prop up his ego by listening to him and letting him talk the most and not disagreeing with him and asking him about his hobbies and interests. And you need to be self-sacrificing. You need to be gentle and giving. All the things, put him first, in other words. And so, from infancy through adolescence to our teens, actually, girls get directed to focus on men and on relationships with men and on family that they have with men and on marriage to men and on meeting the expectations of men in order to achieve this alleged nirvana of being wife and mother. Now, in your case, I didn't hear you say anything about being married or even thinking about getting married. So she had every right to leave that kid with you and disappear. Shit, you helped me. You went in halves on that motherfucker. So it's like you can take care of it just as well as she can. Plus, it's a boy. Why should she have to be bothered? Because notice, you said that she married and now has a couple of kids. That's what she wanted. She wanted to have her kids in their marriage, and you didn't offer that. So you really have you can tell I'm irritated. So it's like little girls, they get programmed into that shit, right? So it's something that, until you get older or unless you're just an asshole like me, you don't even question it. You just go along with it. So, you give the baby dolls and the cosmetics and the play jewelry and the, girly clothes and all that stuff. And then and then the boys get like the tools and the building blocks and the construction kits and chemistry sets and doctor kits and all this other stuff. We didn't get, we don't get those. We get the other stuff. I got some though, but on average, that is not what is given to little girls. So once a little girl gets older, right, and she gets married or has a child, there's gonna be one or two things that happen to her. She's gonna buy into that fantasy, that stuff that they've been stuffing down her throat, and she's gonna swallow her goals and her desires, and she's gonna go along with the program that she's been raised to go along with, or she's going to wake up and she's going to realize that that was a bunch of bullshit, and she's going to revolt, and she's going to understand that she's been sold a bill of goods and gamed on and played, and she's going to bolt because she just like too much pressure. So that's what happened to her, I think. She realized that she was too young to be somebody's mama, and that her life while you was over there doing what you wanted to do, still going to school and playing football and hanging out with the boys and getting new girlfriends and all that stuff, she realized that she was not going to have any kind of life as far into the future as she could see at 17, 18. And she also realized that that script that she'd been provided, that this men and the happily ever after stuff and all that stuff, that's not a movie she wanted to star in. And when you realize that kind of, you realize how people have positioned you to do something you don't really want, you just feel choked, you feel suffocated, you feel like you've been swallowed up in quicksand or by Moby Dick or something. And so you just have to make a getaway. You have to make a getaway because you feel like if you don't leave, you're going to die. Is you have to get away to save yourself. And I think that I think even older people, men and women feel those feelings, but I think it's more acceptable for men to bolt than when women do. Because if you notice, look at all the high numbers of men who don't have anything to do with their children. They'd make them and then they'd abandon them. So, she evidently had the kid for 2 years and then she realized she couldn't handle it. And I think, more women need to leave the kids with their fathers, especially the sons. Leave them with their daddy. Fuck the dumb shit. Let them take care of him. Let them have all the problems with it. Let them deal with his adolescence and his changes in hormones and fighting and getting thrown out of school and his learning disabilities and anything else that happens. Let him deal with it. And I think this feeling is a lot more common than people really realize and want to accept, because some women will just choke the feelings down, right? And they just take, antidepressants and see a therapist to work out their feelings, or they stay in church praying and all this other stuff, or they overeat and they, blow up to 400 pounds and all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of ways that people try to cope with things that are making them unhappy and miserable and angry. That's some way. Some women will, get a job and they go back to school and they leave a kid in daycare, and they have to deal with the guilt that they feel that, somebody else is raising their kid. They handling their resistance to those roles that's been stuffed down their throat in a way that we deem more socially acceptable. But those women are usually a little bit older and more experienced than a little 17-year-old teenager. Because teenage girls, I mean, they have those laws where you can leave the babies at fire stations, police stations, and hospitals and stuff. but those are relatively new. So teenage girls have been known to put newborn babies in trash cans and leave, just all kind of stuff. They give them to their mama, or they go on about their business, or they give them to the fathers and go on about their business. So either way, when you look at the way that young teenagers handle this, most of them don't handle it very well. So, their parents end up raising a kid because they're just too young. So I think, it's to sum this up, to prevent this kind of stuff from happening in the future. Parents, when you have daughters, please stop limiting their choices. Stop telling them what they can't do because they're a girl. Stop trying to direct them to be involved with a man. Ask them about, well, when do you have a boyfriend yet? And, or tease them because they don't. Or positioning them to be, pleasing and suck up to men and to give men what they want and stuff. You do your daughter a great disservice when you treat her that way. You are perpetuating patriarchy and stuffing some stuff down your daughter's throat that should have been left in the 70s. And I just hate it when I see people do that mess. Give your daughter some choices in the lifestyle and in a profession and her ability to travel, and whether she wants to be a mother or a wife or not. Just let her know that those things are options, but those are only one option of dozens, and that she does not have to choose that now or ever, and she'll still be a wonderful person that you love and adore and respect because that's your daughter. And that's the message that more girls need to get. And, stop with this stuff here. This is just disturbing. Ugh. Okay, let's move on. Question number 5. Why is it when you get dumped, a couple of months later, the person who dumped you comes crawling back wanting to take it slow, but then hardly makes any effort to make you happy? She asks, has anyone that's been in this situation that you know about? If so, how did they get them to change their ways? What? Why would you do that? Okay. Let me just put it this way. Have you ever watched a shark? Now, there was this movie that had Samuel L. Jackson in it. I forgot, Deep Blue Sea or something, because LL Cool J was in it. And in that, they had these genetically modified sharks that could swim backwards. But, regular sharks don't do that. That was a movie. Keep in mind, that's not real. Sharks swim in exactly one direction, and that's forward. So you ladies need to take a lesson from sharks and keep moving forward. When you stop and you start looking back, you're letting trash come flying back in your life. You all broke up for a reason. You need to stay focused on that. See, my thing is this, and I did a video on it too. This, the one about, once roses turn, it has like a dead rose on the cover. But it's like this. My dad told me when I was starting to break up with one of my first little boyfriends. My daddy was like, he didn't want to tell me what to do. But he said all he was going to tell me is that once roses start rotting, they never go back to smelling like roses. Okay, that's all he needed to say to me. And it's a situation like this. Okay, dude was trash, right? You put the trash out. Okay, so in normal people, they don't put the trash out at the curb and leave it out there for the garbage man to get it, and think that if you bring it back in the house, that it's gonna be smelling all sweet and fresh. No, it was trash when you put it out, and now it's rotten trash. Okay, I don't understand this. And, it's the same trash it was months ago. He ain't changed. And you see that proof of that right in your face. He's not making any effort to make you happy. He just wanted some booty. And you gave it to him because you thought it was going to mean something. And you got tricked. And this is a standard issue thing. They come back with that sad sack face talking about, trying to get you to reflect on all the memories of the past and think about how good it used to be. So then it messes with your head, and then y'all get caught up, and then the next thing you know, he's in your bed, and you thinking this is the start of something new. It ain't something new. It's just some bullshit. He just wanted some coochie, and you gave it to him, and now you asking me how do you get him to change? You don't get him to change because he's not going to change. Trash cannot change back into fresh produce. Okay, it is dead. It's over. Just let that go and swim forward. That's how you change it. You change yourself. Ooh, these people are, oof, my goodness. And it just makes me wonder, what are our parents telling their daughters? It's like you keep seeing this stuff where the stuff is just so basic. And these young girls don't understand that this is not how you conduct yourself in relationships to men, really to relationships to anyone. I mean, if you have a really funky boss at work and you quit the job and then they come crying back for you to come back, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself right back in that same situation when you know that that person is an ass? Why would you do that? See, stuff like that, I don't understand. So let's do this final question. My boyfriend of almost 2 months expressed that he wouldn't approve. Approve? What? Was you her daddy now? He would approve of me having coffee with one of my male friends from childhood. We were practically in diapers together. My boyfriend also complained when one of my female coworkers invited me to a small gathering with two of her male friends. About a year ago, my new boyfriend was cheated on by his now ex wife. I'm trying to be sensitive to that fact, but it feels like he's overly jealous. What do you think? Oh, my God. Let me tell you what I think. I think after you only, okay, first of all, you don't know that he was cheated by the ex-wife. Cheated on with by the ex-wife. That's a standard issue game when they want to position you to be under them and like do everything that they say to try to please them. Please keep that in mind because if you talk to his ex-wife, I'm sure you'll get a completely different story. He was probably the one cheating. Number two, after only 2 months of knowing you, he is coming in there with his mouth trying to tell you what to do and trying to control what you do and who you do it with and where you go and all that stuff. Oh, no, 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 no. You need to squelch this immediately. Now, um, these are control freak behaviors. I'm thinking about the ex-wife, okay? Because women don't usually cheat if they're getting their emotional needs met by their man. Even if he's not so good in bed, if he's meeting her emotional needs, she'll be pretty tight. But you got a man that refuses to give you space. You can't breathe. He complains all the damn time. He tries to control everything you do. He whines. He's negative, and he tries to limit your social contact and people. Well, basically your contact with anybody outside the house. This is somebody that you need to watch very, very carefully because a lot of these dudes, in their quote jealousy, they turn physically or verbally abusive because they feel like you aren't listening to them, and that means in his world that you're not giving him what he wants, which is to stay at home looking at him all the time, so he feels secure that you're not with out having fun without him or meeting other people and aka men when he's not there. So my suggestion is this, that you do this first, and then secondly, you might have to consider breaking this off. But first do this. You sit him down and you say, you sit him where he's like facing you, right? And then you say, look at my face. What do you see? And he's going to not know what you're talking about, and that's fine. So then you say, I want you to understand, I am not your ex. I am, and then say your name. And I will go where I please. I will go with whom I want to go, and I will go when I want to go. You will not control what I do, ever. Now, if you cannot handle that and you think that that's going to be a problem for you, then we need to go our separate ways right now. Because I'm telling you, this game you trying to play here, this is not going to fly. This will get you kicked out of my life. You don't trust me because of what some other bee did? I don't have shit to do with that. Okay, I was not there. I don't even know the heifer. So you are not going to charge me with a crime based on what someone else that you claim someone else did. Because we still don't know that it's true, like I said. So you just let him know, that he's not going to ever control you and your relationships with your friends and family, co-workers, nobody. And that's what you need to understand, homie. So you need to make your decision. Let me know what it is when I get back, because I'm going out to have coffee with my friend right now, and I'll talk to you when I get back home. And then you just, get up and walk out the door. Get up and walk out the restaurant, wherever you decide to do this. But he needs to understand what his role is in your life. He is like a periphery, especially after only 2 months. It's like this nigga, he's so tripping. I can't even get my words out. He's tripping so hard. So that would be my suggestion, because you do not want to get into a position where you start, changing your life and bending and jumping through hoops trying to appease him and keep him from being jealousy, because then you would be in an abusive relationship. And then you'd be writing me from the hospital talking about, oh, I should have listened to you. I tried to do everything he wanted me to do, and he still beat my ass. He tried to kill me, and he want me to quit my job, and he don't want me to go to my mama's house. I can't go nowhere unless he goes to. These are the kind of ways that those things escalate. And if you don't want that, then you need to put the brakes on this nonsense right now. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. Please visit the blog. There's lots of articles there, and you can submit your advice questions there. Also, check the description box below for the link to the What About Our Girls discussion that will take place tomorrow. You must be pre-registered. I learned my lesson last time, so I will have nobody's camera active but mine, but everybody's mic. I'll be able to hear you. Your microphone, whatever you say, will be recorded for the video, but only on the microphone. We won't do any participant videos this time. That was kind of a hot mess. I learned a valuable lesson. But anyway, you guys have any suggestions for topics? You have a question for me, just use the advice submission form or email me at survivingdating.com with your show ideas. Thanks for participating. Great. For my Patreon subscribers, I want to let you know I finally got enough money together to order some lights and stuff. They will be here on Monday. So I have to reconfigure my living room so that I have room for them. But what that will mean is that, starting probably the next week after, I will be able to record videos even at night. So the world is about to change around here. And my next goal is a video camera that I can take on location and interview people, and do shows at restaurants and bars and wherever else I want to go do them. So I have big plans for this channel, and all you guys who provide financial support in the way of Patreon donations or PayPal donations, I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. And this stuff takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it's nice to see that people appreciate it and put their money where their mouth is to help make this even better. I don't have to do it all by myself. I have a team behind me, and that really feels good. So I will talk to you guys real soon. I may even make another video later today, but we'll see. But we'll be back in a day or two. Bye bye.